My name is Jacob Hennigan, and I visited l'Université Rennes 2 en Bretagne, France, when I studied abroad. Well, it was. I did a lot of researching the different affiliated, non-affiliated, and stuff. But overall, the options available to me through Rennes and kind of the having some friends who had already gone there, I was like, this just seems like a good pick. Mostly for the fact that it was since it was directly through Texas State with the exchange program, I was able to get all my credits transferred like no problem. Didn't have to do any extra anything. I lived in student housing. That was like a 5-minute walk to campus. It was literally right across the street, and it was great. The rooms were 9 meters squared, I think, so they weren't huge. They were pretty small, but it's like got a bed, got a big closet, got a fridge, got a shower. It's like there you go. So here in Texas or Texas State, we generally have 2 to 3 classes a week. And you have like, okay, this week we're doing this assignment, and then we have a test on this day, whatever, and you kind of have this like very structured approach to doing assignments. And in France, it's kind of, they just like to load you up with information, and every so often you like write an essay. Well, in my case, I'd be like writing essays or filling out worksheets or whatever. But the overall atmosphere of being on campus was very similar. Like everybody's like there like with a purpose, everyone's just kind of like going to their next class, and like when you stop and chat, it's like everybody starts talking about what you're studying. It's very like, you would think that going to like a completely different university, it would have like a whole different kind of ethos, I guess, but it was actually very, very familiar. It's very cool. So I did receive financial assistance. I went through FAFSA and got help with that, because normally I pay for my tuition with Hazelwood. Hazelwood does not cover study abroad programs. So I went through FAFSA and got the Pell Grant and a loan and all that. I spent, I kind of want to say outside of tuition, because tuition is pretty comparable to what you would pay for a semester here at Texas State. But outside of that, I probably spent a lot more than I would care to think about sometimes, because I was big on going and getting souvenirs and going to the different places and really adventuring around Europe. With my monthly rent of 244 euros, I would probably spend another 100 euros for like eating, going out, more like groceries and stuff, and then maybe another 50 for like going out. And this is kind of being a little overly, I'm rounding up by a lot. But then when I would go on like my trips and stuff, it was probably like 500 to 1,000 euros a semester, depending on how active I was in that semester. So I got several tattoos while I was over there, and I think being able to go and just like navigate that in French, I went and I was like describing a Dr. Seuss book in French, and I was like, oh yeah, I want this, but bigger, but smaller, but just describing, like being able to buy a tattoo in French. It was really cool. I would absolutely, first chance I got, I would go back. The overall experience, even outside of like the academic one, was just really cool. Being able to, not even being able to, but being in a position where more often than not, I'm gonna have to rely on my ability to use a different language than my native tongue, was just like really exciting. I would go home tired often because like, it's just a lot of mental energy. But it was super exciting and very cool when I would like pick up a new trick of the trade or whatever, and or just successfully navigate, and somebody be like, "Oh, you don't have an accent." Thank you. And also just being able to just kind of go out, walk around. Like there's a big walking culture, and they're the big. All the restaurants are like they expect you to stay for like hours. So that they have their tables set up so you can people watch, as you just have a little coffee and just watch people go down the street, and like it's just a pleasant little area, and it's a pretty decent location as far as going to the more touristy areas too. So like it's probably at max like 4 hours train ride to any given location, unless you want to go to like Eastern France, then you have to go, you know, a bit longer. But still, it was like, I hate to be overly dramatic about it, but it was life changing. You know, everybody says that, but it's because it is. You meet all kinds of new people with new perspectives and new like ideas even, and it's really cool and really refreshing to like get out of the States and go. You know, we kind of have this reputation that we uphold, that we're like, oh, well, America's a melting pot, but like it's way more like, you know, I think I could, if I walked like 4 blocks down the street and stopped and talked to like 10 strangers, I would probably meet at least 4 different nationalities. You know, there's just, everybody is there, and there's always something to do that's like, oh, I never would have even thought of this. You know, just all kinds of cool stuff to discover.